We're Carly and Evan, and we're taking on the Great Loop.
And we want to give you a boat tour of our beloved Northern Attitude.
For the last 6 months, we have lived, worked, and traveled America's Great Loop on our 36-foot 1985 Marine Trader Europa.
With 40 years to her name, Northern Attitude is full of charm and character, but more importantly, she's gotten us from Florida to New York safely and on a budget.
If you're looking to do the Great Loop on more of a budget or simply want ideas on how to manage life aboard, we hope this full tour gives you an idea of what's necessary for the journey.
Northern Attitude has a draft of 3.5 feet, a beam of 12 feet, and reaches roughly 14 feet high with the bimini top, making her absolutely perfect for the Great Loop requirements.
If you're just finding us here on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed because we've been documenting every step of the journey, and we're only 1/6 of the way in. Here we go. So we're going to start on the bow. This is where all the action takes place because that's how we sleep at night right here. This is our windlass underneath here. We have a Lumar windlass that has treated us well so far. It uses a electric switch, so we do not have foot pedals like a lot of them do. It's about a 6-foot long cord that you have an up and down with. The chain is heavier chain than you'd see on most boats, which is great because it stays on the bottom, and so all the force gets pulled parallel to the bottom. We do have a Spade brand anchor. It's 35 pounds and we love it. It sets well, first try most of the time. We do have a washdown right here, but it's currently not hooked up or working. It uses a pump that's in the engine room, and then a hose comes all the way up here. So instead, we bought an Amazon special that you toss this over the side, whatever body of water you're in, it just sucks up the water. So that's been good to get the mud off because the chain goes right down into our master V-berth where we sleep. So we don't ever want it to get gross and smelly. Another thing to point out up here is we have our little safety mechanism for when we're underway to keep the windlass, if it were to have a failure, from the anchor to go down. But if it gets really rough, we have a rope that we tie all the way around this to really lock it down because we don't want it to bang around in some waves. We also have currently our bridle on, and we wrap it around this post as well as the cleats in case for whatever reason something happened. Kind of helps us sleep better at night. Also up here is our dock line storage. There's probably a better way to do it, but we've done it this way for over 1,000 miles. They dry out, they're always ready, they're neat, organized, and out of the way. We also have been keeping a fat, big old fender up here recently, just in case when we're docking, it's easy to grab. It's right here all the time. We always have our covers on. These hatches, we don't really open them that much. We haven't needed to. I think if it gets really hot, we would, but it just hasn't gotten overly hot yet. As we walk to the stern, you'll see this is pretty much always open. Carly has a screen in there that we put on just to keep the majority of the bugs. Now, it's not completely sealed, so some can get through. But we also have reflective shield here that helps keep a lot of the solar load out. And these do a wonderful job, super cheap. I think every boat should have them. They're not as pretty as some, but they definitely do a good job. This is our shore power. It's a 30 amp shore power that feeds our inverter, the battery chargers, all the electronics. But we don't really use it that much. It is on the starboard side. We have a sliding door right next to the helm, which is super helpful when docking. I can jump out, run up, help Carly with the anchor, whatever it may be. As we keep coming back, we have our boat pole storage, a couple rods. We do have exterior lighting, which is really nice at night. Now as we come to the back, we have our back porch, which we did lose one of these chairs. They're different colors because when we went back to Target, they didn't have the same color. So we do fold it down if it gets really windy and gross out. While we're back here, I might as well open this up. Our lazarette. This is huge. It's the full beam, and I can stand in here almost my waist. So it's pretty deep, and it has a generator on this side. Would be the starboard side. Our rudder access is right here. All of our steering cables are down here. This side is all open for whatever toys you may want. We have diesel jerry jugs down there right now for the loop. It's also where we keep our hose, wash down stuff, our spare anchor. We actually have 2 spare anchors down here and other throwables down here. So we don't get down here that much, but it is massive and super easy to open this up. And as we keep coming around the boat, we have the magma grill, which I mounted before we left, drilled in, and it stays out here all the time. It rides out here great. We just keep the cover on it. These are our drinking water bags. They're 5 gallons a piece. We use that to fill our Berkey up when we need drinking water. Off the back is our solar. You'll see these 1-inch stainless steel tubing that runs up to hold 4 200-watt Renogy solar panels, and we can get a better look at those once we go up top. But on this side we do have our davit. This is what gets our car or our dinghy on and off the water. So we raise it up. Nothing too exciting on this side other than more lights and a good tall walk around for Ripley and docking, whatever it is.
Thank you, Evan, for showing us the outside. I'm gonna bring us inside to our salon, our galley, our head, our 2 berths, and show you our living quarters. So if we come on in, we have great seating. We have a great couch here. This is our workspace. This is where we eat dinner. This is where we hang out, watch TV most nights. We also have more seating over here. There's storage underneath both of these, so all of this cushion is primarily groceries and like extra laundry detergent and paper towels and whatnot. This one back here is Evan's junk drawer. Over here is kitchen utensils and like kitchen appliances. Like we have a small food processor. We have bigger casserole dishes and things like that that we don't use as often. We have a TV that Evan mounted before we left. And then we also have more storage right here. We try to keep all of our camera gear in convenient spots so that way it's easier to grab. So we keep most of that up here and this top drawer. This is our work drawer, and then Ripley's drawer is on the bottom, and this one is random stuff. One of my favorite parts of the decor or functionality that we've added to the boat is actually, it's very simple, but it is this wicker file basket that we use for our laptops. This was an open wall that we could make use of, and I think this is super cute and functional at the same time. So we love that. Evan mounted this just with a 2x4 type thing, and he stained it. So it's nice that we don't have to use this. We have space here, and then that is out of the way. We added some lights. We love those. We have our shades. These were in amazing condition when we bought the boat. And we love our shades. Great for privacy because we have a lot of windows up here. The entire thing is windows. As we make our way forward to the front of the boat, we have our helm station, which I'll have Evan talk about a little bit later. And then we have our galley, which was one of the selling points for us both on this boat. We looked at a 34-foot Europa, and the galley was so much smaller. Now on a 36, but we have so much more space in here. One of the upgrades that we did, pretty minor but makes a huge difference, is we changed out our sink and our faucet. So originally our sink was only like 4 inches deep. This one is 10 inches deep. And then we got a faucet that pulls out. It's easier for rinsing dishes. This also, if we needed it to, can reach outside through the window. So just kind of nice to have. Also, I found these cup holders that Evan added, and I thought they worked perfectly for our hand soap and our dish soap, and I have been so happy with them. I'm so glad we added that because they would have fallen over so many times if we didn't have this. We hand wash everything, no dishwasher on the boat, but that's fine. We try and do a lot of one-pot meals. All of this is storage. We have cups and more cups. We have plates and bowls in here, and then Tupperware and alcoholic beverage glasses in here. We have a full 4-burner stove, which is quite a luxury, and it's propane. I love propane. I'm so glad it's not electric. We have a standard oven. It's a little bit smaller, so I did have to purchase smaller cookie sheets. Those are a little dirty. Storage under here for pots and pans. And then, if you've been following us since the beginning, you probably remember how adamant I was that I was getting rid of the top loading fridge. And it's not that I lost the battle, it's that our priorities went into other places and we decided to save money, keep the top loading fridge, and it really has been an amazing thing. It hasn't been an issue. One of the things that I did to compromise was I purchased these containers that we try and keep things organized in. So the top one is typically like produce and lunch meat and cheese. We have one that's for condiments. We have one that's for random things. We added a fruit basket. We added these baskets for our go-to like everyday seasonings. And then we added this magnetic knife strip, which I was a little hesitant to do, but it has been amazing. I highly recommend. I can't even imagine if we had a butcher block on the boat. I think that would just be so dangerous. So I'm loving this. One thing about the boat is that there's not as many outlets as I would like. So one of the outlets is here. So we keep all of our electronics that need charging here. So as you can see, we have our headsets, we have our speaker, we have, like I can charge some of my camera gear there. So that's why we have kind of like an electronics situation here. We use a Berkey for drinking water. Not much to say other than we love it. And people have asked us before if it's a problem being this high up and if it ever falls over. Knock on wood, it has never fallen over. However, in the couple times that we have been in rough waters, we just move it to the ground for the time that we're cruising and it's perfectly fine. We added, this is actually a shower hook. So we added this for the cutting boards because we're always grabbing these cutting boards. And then this is Ripley's food station. She likes to eat up high. We don't like to have it on the ground. It's better for her neck and for her digestion and everything. So we purchased this and her food goes under here. And then these bowls are Toadfish branded, and as you can see, they have a suction on the bottom so they don't slide around so much. Ice maker has been a luxury, but kind of a necessary luxury, I would say. Evan is obsessed with the ice maker and turns it on whenever our batteries are looking good. Last thing I'll point out is we purchased an Iceco refrigerator freezer. It can be either, but it can only be one or the other. So we use this as our freezer, and that is why we didn't get a new fridge, because if we got a new fridge, it would have made the fridge space smaller because we would have added a freezer with it. Instead, we left that and gave us pretty much a deep freeze. So we love this, we're so happy with it, and I don't know what we would do without it, to be honest. Here is more storage. We have silverware on the top, junk drawer in the middle, and then like tools and go-to items for fixing things and whatnot. And then this is randoms. We have napkins, tissues. We have stickers. If you want to be a patron, you get a sticker. And we have our boat cards here for easy access when we meet people on the docks and whatnot. It's right here, easy to get to. And then just some other random things like wallet, keys, and all that. All right, we have 3 steps to get down here, and we have a pretty open area down here. We have a great size head, and we have 2 cabins. If you want to come on down, I'll show you the V berth. This is where we sleep, and some people might wonder why we sleep in the V berth. Well, that is because it is like a California king size wide. Of course, it does come to a head, I guess. But it is a great size for us because Ripley does sleep with us. And then if you come on in, we also have our closet right here, which I'll do a close-up of, but both Evan and I keep all of our clothes in this little section right here, aside from our swimsuits, underwear, and socks. And Ripley wants to come up, don't you? We have 2 fans here, so that's really nice to have because we do not have AC on the boat. And I do want to point out my curtains. We didn't have any curtains aside from the blinds up in the salon, and I don't know how to sew, sadly. I wish I did, and I really should learn. But these are just little placemats that I bought at Target and then used shower hooks to hang them up. So love those. Our second cabin is primarily used for storage. We've only had 1 guest on the boat so far while we've been traveling, and that is Evan's dad. So he slept in here. The reason we don't sleep in here is because the bed is smaller, but we do use it quite well. We have our electric scooters in here, which have been so amazing on the loop. We have storage here, a lot of random things. I don't even know what's in there. We keep our towels, extra hats, and then we have another closet in here, and that's where we keep our coats, rain jackets, and our like Mary and Barry outfit. So Evan has his sport coat in there. I have a black dress in there. Just a couple nicer clothes go in there. We have extra blankets, and our dirty laundry goes in here. Now I'll show you the head. If we hop to the other side, we have our head, which on top of the galley was another huge selling point for me personally on this boat. One of the things I told Evan during our boat search was that I really, really did not want a wet head. I would work with it if we had to, but this one has not only just a shower, but it also has a tub. I'm not sure I would take a bath in there, but it's great if we ever needed to soak something, if Ripley needed to come in here for whatever reason. So we love having our shower separate from the rest of the bathroom. Our toilet has been great. It's electric flush, so no complaints there. I added a lot of baskets for storage because that is the one thing that the head is lacking. Pretty much the only storage is under the sink, but a lot of it is tubing and running lines from all over the place, so there's really not that much storage under there. We keep like dry shampoo and hairspray and things back here, and then my makeup goes in this drawer. So that's where all the baskets come in because we both wear contacts, you know, we have all of our separate products and whatnot, but it does the job for us.
Now that Carly has shown you downstairs, I'm gonna walk through the Helm that we drive from if it ever gets snotty or rainy, cold, windy. And we drive up here probably 50% of the time. Same gauge cluster as upstairs. You have volts, RPMs, oil pressure, and your engine temperature. Engine kill and engine start, push to start, which is kind of fun. We use a lot of navigation through our phone and have loved using that. We have our autopilot, which shows rudder position and our heading. But under here is access to all the steering. Is all mechanical. It's great. Just wire and chain, and you don't have to worry about hydraulics. So it's the equal amount of turns to the left and the right if you ever needed to count them. On this side of the Helm, we have our windlass switch. That's just the breaker, and then our main electrical panel with AC, DC, all the labeled switches. We do have radar here on this Garmin. We never really turn it on, but we do use this for GPS every now and then. As you look out the front, this open area, we keep our safety things like binoculars, our EPIRB, VHF, gloves for the locks, all of our charts sit up here. So we also have, you might be wondering what this is. This is our Ripley camera, as well as, I guess, if there was any theft, but it just shoots down the main entrance of the boat, and we also keep the depth finder up here and the VHF radio. So if you've been following along or not, you probably remember a big orange Home Depot bucket, 5-gallon bucket that we sat up here. There is a leak somewhere, or there was at one point. Rainwater would come in, drip on the wood, you can kind of see the discoloration, and it's really hard to find, so we had this funnel. We had a friend make us a gutter, or a trough you could say, so that is screwed in up there to catch any of the water that's dripping, and it actually pops out right next to this bell. Just spits out the outside, so that has been awesome. We no longer have to have the bucket, and it catches 98% of the water. There's still some that makes its way and sticks to something. But all right, now we come up to the party deck. This is what's so cool about the Europa, is this massive space. First off, this is our dinghy chocks. We decided to go with 4x4s that I tied to be equally spaced. And this is great because when we do have people up here, we can move them off, and I did not have to drill into this. Really cheap, awesome way to do it. Big fan. On the back is our powerhouse. Hangs off the back and can hinge down if we ever needed to be shorter. And that is just fastened with locking washers, locking nuts, in L bracket aluminum. So it's held up very well, super stable. I wouldn't stand on it, but it does its job here is the davit system. It is electric, so that is convenient. We don't have to have a winch or a boom or anything like that, where a lot of trawlers do use a hand winch on a mast. This is a 200-pound winch. It does the job. It's not fast, but it does lift our 10-foot dinghy and 9.9 motor. Similar to the windlass up front, it has a cord that you plug in and you can walk, about 6 feet with it. So we have extra propane, which I take to refill. It's just a tiny little one for our grill. 2 gas tanks, which are solely for the dinghy, and occasionally our little suitcase generator. As we come up here, there's storage under all of this, both the front and the back. They just slide, and you can remove all of these. So pop out, it's super easy to get to stuff, no matter if it's big or small. This is where we keep our generator, the little 2,000 watt inverter generator. We lived off that while we were building the solar. So we have our Starlink mounted up here, always stays on, always stays in that direction. Haven't had an issue with it getting in the way yet. We'll see as we get into more locks, but continuing to the front, this is a huge storage, completely empty. I've crawled in here several times to work on electronics or the steering. This is also where our 2 propane tanks sit and are fastened. So we keep life jackets, more cushions. We have another throwable up here, and yeah, it's kind of a catch-all. When we fold the bimini up, we put that in there. Over here is where we drive a lot of the time, and the upper helm is identical to the lower helm, which is really unique to this boat. And all the steering is linked right here in this chase. So when this one spins, the downstairs one spins. We have the same gauge cluster. The 2 antennas do fold down very easy when we need to get under short bridges. More storage. Most of the storage we have under here is like our dinghy pump, our extra lines if we ever needed more lines. A ton of seating that we can roll out if we want to host people up here. So we got fenders all over the place. You can never have too many fenders. We always keep them tied because you never know if a wind will take them, but they do roll around every now and then. We don't really mind it, but we try to tuck them up the best we can. So that's what we got up here. We'll go down and check out the engine room. All right, now the heart of this beast, 40-year-old beast. We have the engine room, which 4 panels all lift up, and you can stand in there. Flip our runner back into a trifold and lift this guy up and set it over there. And that is basically the easiest way to get in. You step down here on a crate and you sit down and you're in. Now you can see all the way to the forward as well as the tool shop. So Carly will insert some up close shots, but I'll sit here and work my way around talking about the engine room. So the back has a pegboard to hang whatever tools you may want or need. We have pretty much whatever it may take to make a repair. But on the port side is our fresh water pump, our compressor for the refrigerator sits there. As we go back to this side, that is our holding tank for waste that needs pumped out. That sits back there, and then in front of that you'll have the water tanks, and then in front of the water tanks you have the diesel tanks. It's a mirror image on the port side. You have water tanks, and then the fuel tanks sit forward. The main exhaust hose runs right down the middle, which is a little irritating that it's always kind of in the way, but I like the design because it does sit above the water line, which is good. You won't have to worry about hydro locking the diesel. It also carries a bunch of spare parts. We have a spare freshwater pump. We have a spare impellers for both the dinghy and the main engine. There is an outlet so I can charge the batteries down here. And as we keep moving forward is the fuel system. So both rate cores sit down there. Our boat is designed to pull only from the starboard side. So when you fill up the port, you actually have to transfer it over to the starboard, and the engine pulls from the starboard side. So it goes from one fuel tank through a rate core into the other tank, from that tank through a Raycore into the engine. All of the Victron, the blue plastic components, are on the port side mounted. We have the Orion DC to DC. We have the MPPT for the solar charge controller, Lynx distributor system with Class T fuses, and the main bus bar where all of our loads come into. For house batteries, we did an upgrade. We have two 300 amp hour lithium iron phosphate lifetime batteries. They've been wonderful. I speak very highly of them.
And that is the tour of our floating home that has been getting us around the Great Loop safely, efficiently, and we love her. She does the job. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to leave them in the comments. We will be responding. Or you can join us over on patreon.com/navigating Nietzels. We also have Instagram, Facebook, and yeah, I think that's it. Love you, bye.
Bye.